Okay, today I want to just teach you how to basically review content articles. So, as a content manager, there's specific things that we look for and that we review in our checklist as we're going through these articles. So, I'm going to attempt to do that today for you. I'm going to go through these articles. Let's just start with one. I'll start with one article today. And I'm going to start you off with an article that's a little bit in progress already, but I'll make another video from the very beginning of an article as well to really go from start to finish. So this is more of a kind of looking at one that's already in progress. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we're looking at today is really the content calendar folder. So we need to look for, and then we have the ones that are being edited. So that's what we're focusing on. We're going to use Trello content calendar to tell us what is ready for us as a content manager and a VA to review. So here's my editing review list, and here's my in editing list as well. So these are the two that we're going to be focusing on today. And like I said, I'm just going to start with one article. I'm going to start with the one that's already in review, and we'll go from there. So let's pretend this review in progress is not on. I'll show you how to turn that on. So I'll click on that article, and then really what I need to do is I just need to turn on the label that is called review in progress. Now when I add that, the members that are attached to this card will get a notification that says that something has been added to the card. Okay, now you can see here we have two members added already on this, and that means they will both get a notification as something new is added to the card, either a comment or a new tag, for instance. Okay, so here we go. We got review in progress. Let's scroll down, go to the attachment section, and here we really just need to open up the Google Doc file. We also need to open up the content brief. We also need to open up our checklist to make sure that we're and the editor's checklist to make sure that we are not missing anything and that we are consistent with each article that we review and approve. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. If the attachment is not showing here, click on the View All Attachments button. That will show all of the attachments for us. And now let's go ahead and check that those articles and go ahead and open up the documents I mentioned. So here we have the one called 5-Star Grab CAD Workbench Review. That is the name of the article here. So most likely that is our Google document. Let's go ahead and click on it and open it up, check it out. And it looks like it is. So as that's opening up, I'm going to go back to the Trello card and I'm going to open up the checklist from the editor. And it should be the most recent attachments up at the top here. So we'll go ahead and click on that one. And then I'm going to, yep, that's our checklist. You can see it right there, blog post article complete checklist. And that's what we use here at our company. And the last one here, this looks like it's just a picture maybe that they posted. Could be from the writer or the editor as maybe a proof that they're finished with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one as well. Since that was recently added, it looks like it is their completed article, and they're just showing us their health score or the SEO content optimization score, and just showing us that it is above the 70 threshold, which is the very minimum that the score needs to be. So anything above 70 is acceptable, and they're just showing us, hey, look, I completed it and it is above 70. Here's my proof. So really, if anybody changes anything and it goes below 70, it wasn't my fault. You know, I'm sure that's the writer, you know, stating that for the editor and for the reviewers and the managers as well. So that's good. That's okay. Let's see, we have another image here. Let's see what that is. That looks like this was probably the score previously, before they finalized it. It's possible that this was the score. Then I made some edits to it, some comments, some recommendations, suggestions. They went back and they improved it and they raised the score. So let's keep going down the list here. We'll see here we have the blog product review template. Let's go ahead and open that one up since this article is a product review. And we want to make sure that this product review is in the right format here in the Google Doc. So we're going to use this template to kind of do a side-by-side comparison, again, to make sure that the editing is, or the writing of the article was written correctly. Okay, so we're going to go back to Trello here, and I'm going to come down. There is a WordPress link here. We're not to that stage yet. We have not migrated from Google Docs into WordPress yet. This was set up by at the very beginning of the content creation process for the editors and the publishers to use, and that way they don't have to set it up themselves. And then the last one down, the next one here is the content brief, which we also need to monitor. So let's go ahead and open that up. Make sure that, again, everybody's following this content brief. So if we notice something is, after we review it, something is not correct in the actual article here, it could be something that we need to go back to the writer, since they are the first point of contact with the article, and have them fix it. If it's already been approved from the writing stage and gone on into the editing team, then it would be something that we need to go back to the editing team for. So that's really all of the documents that we need to open. The other ones here are the SEO content tool that we use, and that was from the writing, which was the very beginning stage, and then the original checklist that was posted when we created the basically the pre-production before the team got started on it. This is what we attached for them. They then download it and they start editing and checking off their list boxes, and then they add it back to the attachments once they've finished, and then we continue using the one on the top because that is the most recent version from that point on. So now let's scroll down to the comments. And you can see here, I've already made a couple comments with I've been talking here with the writers and the editors. And so as you can see here, here's the original picture that they posted with that 56 score. And then I made some comments. We then improved the score to 81. Okay. Then we continued on the conversation, and now where we're at is really just kind of going back into that Google Doc from the editor, stating that the article is done, to go ahead and move forward and check the progress. So that's the most recent comment. Let's go ahead and check that. First of all, let's go ahead and look here at my comments to find out what I asked the editors and the writers to do, and then we'll verify that they actually did it, and then we can make sure that we are on to the next stage of our checklist. So I'm going to go ahead and switch tabs here, and we'll go back to the Google Doc. As far as the content brief and the template, since I've already completed the initial first and second reviews, I don't really need to check that the article is in the right format. It should be, now that we're to this stage of back and forth a couple times, because generally that first conversation or two maybe even 3 is about, hey, the formatting isn't right, something is out of order, needs rearranging, you didn't answer the question, you didn't, follow the information here under each title, it wasn't written correctly, something like that, are normally the editing recommendations to the writers or even to the editors. And sometimes the editors will even use this and catch something that maybe manager missed or a VA missed. So it's always great to have open and to refer back to it. Once you memorize kind of the order and how everything goes with this template, you won't need to open it quite so much, but I strongly encourage you to open it up and keep it there just in case you need to go check something really quick. You can always just close it as soon as you're finished with it. All right, so we're going to go to our checklist here. And we can see the first checklist isn't finished there because the writer had a different checklist that he downloaded. And then I went through and the manager went through and did all the approvals. So this will be something that the VA and manager will use for approval checks. And you can see that first initial one from after the writer had finished their work. So this is really the writing approval stage. And then we went on to the editor, and the editor went through and did their work. And they've gone through, and you can see, and we want them to check off each box to prove to us that they looked at the checklist and they didn't forget anything. And if they did forget something, like they didn't have a checkbox here, it just could be because it's not required. Basically they checked the top box of the hierarchy of that section there, that bullet section. Again, let's see if they miss one here. Paragraph length, use the skinny paragraphs. Maybe it's something they forgot to check, or maybe it's just something they forgot to check off of their checklist. Complete the Chromium-based browser extension using Ahrefs or detailed. We can verify that they did that or not. And again, that could just be something that they forgot to do. And that's really just verifying the SEO structure, which comes from the template here as well. Okay, just it's another check that we use. All right, so let's go down to the manager approval. Again, this will be where the VA and the manager go through and check these. And a lot of times it'll be the VA doing it first, and then the manager giving that final approval. Yes, I see everything's done. I agree with your comments, and yes, we can move forward. So we'll go ahead and look at this here. Grammarly suggestions, make sure that they were corrected in the article. So we'll come over here. We want to look at all of these comments first to make sure that what we recommended last time to the editors were completed. Okay, and you can see here where I've made a recommendation. You can click on this comment. It'll highlight where the comment was. And you can see here, I made a comment basically to replace the comment for the meta description, which comes from the SEO optimization tool and then gets imported into the Google Doc. And you can see here they said they were done with that. So we can just look at it, make sure that it is the correct one. Discover why GrabCAD Workbench is rated 5-star by users. Experience GrabCAD, Top CAD software for sharing, and it looks like it is correct. So if that's the case, we can go ahead and make a comment and say okay, and then the writer can check off the box, or the manager can check off the box to inform the editor and the content team that this is no longer something that needs attention. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just check it off here. The next one, click on this one again, we can see the underline in green here where the comments was. It says to replace to elevate with ready to complement. And we can see here ready to complement was completed. So let's go ahead and check that off. Next one here. And these comments are just, you don't really see the green box. You can kind of see that little green mark there. That's where the editing request was originally from. And we just said to delete it, and you can see it doesn't show it anymore, so we know that it has been deleted. So go ahead and check that one off as well. And as we do this, this is creating a checklist in the Google Doc updates section, and the team will get a notification of all of these checkoffs that we're doing here, and they'll be able to review that, or they can always go back to the history tab here, and they can go back and see the changes that were made, or they can look at these comments to show all the comments over here, kind of what was finished, what wasn't. Okay, so we'll come down to the next one here, and we can see that we wanted them to delete something. Looks like it's all gone. We don't see that green mark anymore, so let's go ahead and check that one off. The next one here. Okay, here's where we're talking to the writer as part of the missing, and also there aren't any pictures in the article or links provided. This appears, and this was from the editor and then the manager, myself here. This appears to have been updated already. Please update the Google Doc. So I'm saying it was updated in our SEO optimization tool. I checked, but it wasn't updated in the actual Google Doc. And then the editor wrote me back and said the pictures will be updated in the WordPress phase. So this has not been completed, so I don't want to check it off. So I personally remember when they get to the WordPress stage, I can refer back to the Google Doc and go, let's check and make sure everything was completed. So when they come back from WordPress and they say, okay, now I've gone to WordPress with it, go ahead and review. That first review, I'm going to go back to the Google Doc and check to make sure there's no outstanding comments. And if there is, have they been updated in the WordPress for that first initial review? And if they were at that point, then I will check them off in the Google Doc. So let's go ahead and go to the next one here. We want to replace a lowercase b with a capital B. Looks like it is. So go ahead and check that off. And we'll go down to the next one. And we'll just keep doing the same thing until all of these comments have been completed. And then we'll go through our checklist for the manager approval section here. And we may have to create new comments and recommendations or even suggestions for the editor again. Okay, or maybe not. Maybe everything will be good. We can just check everything off and say you're good to move on to the next stage, and we will approve the editing stage and allow them to migrate to WordPress and start the publishing phase. So back to our document here, we want to add the H2 product name pricing. What about the cost of the product, missing or located in the wrong place from approved template? So it appears this was a comment that was added because something was out of alignment with our template for the product review here that we went through, and we've made note of that here to the editor. And then you asked us to leave this part due to supplication in the next H3 or the pros and cons. And then the writer came back and said, I moved the pricing info and the call to action, the CTA button. So let's see here. This was originally talking about pricing, I believe, and I don't see anything in the pricing there. If we click on Yeah, here you can see the pricing is under it now. I think before it might have been above. So it looks like everything here is good. And we'll just verify that in the template. So let's see here. This is best features, revolutionizing. So let's see in our template here, best features is here. The next one is each feature is an H3 and then the pricing. So let's look at this. So each feature here, these should be H3s. There they are, H3, H3, right? So these are all H3s it looks like, which is good. H3, H3, and H3. And then the pricing is underneath as recommended and then a call to action button. So, and that's above the pros and cons section, and here's pros and cons next. So this looks like I'm approving this, so we'll go ahead and check that off. And then the next one here, let's see, where is this one at? This one says incomplete paragraph, please finish. Looks like it's still incomplete here. I see a comma, and then I don't see anything else after that for business. So let's see, where did that comment go? Did I just check it off or something? Mm, okay, it looks like, I don't know. I don't think I did anything. It looks like something just disappeared. I'll have to review the video after to make sure. But it seemed like there was more comments, but maybe this is it right here, actually. Maybe it just jumped on me. So add grab pricing strategy designed to accommodate the range of users. Looks like he did that. So we'll go ahead and check that off. I do have, again, incomplete paragraph. Okay, here it is. Maybe the comment just jumped on me and I wasn't looking, so I thought something got deleted. All right, so incomplete paragraph, please finish. Move to correct place and template. That's good. He moved after features. That's good. Great. Boom. Okay, but we still have this incomplete paragraph here. So let's go ahead and just suggest an edit. Maybe they missed that. So I'm going to suggest the edit and say, no, you know what? I'm not going to suggest an edit because it doesn't need to be edited. It needs to be just added here. So I'm going to just add it here on the reply. Great. This looks much better. Thank you. However, the last sentence is still incomplete and needs to be finished. If needed, please advise. Okay, and then we can go ahead and just read this comment. And before I reply and they actually see it, I'm going to just read it one more time to make sure, because maybe it's just easier. It might be just something not necessary and we can delete. So in reading this, pricing strategy is designed to accommodate a range of users from individual hobbyists to large enterprises. The platform typically offers tiered pricing plans with each different level of access, collaboration, tools, support, and support services. The essence of GrabCAD's pricing is to ensure that users only pay for the features they need, allowing the scalability and flexibility. Okay, it looks like they were going to talk about something for business pricing. So why don't we do this? Why don't we look at the website for GrabCAD and let's see if maybe we can see if there's something special for businesses. GrabCAD.com, shopping pricing, that looks like the correct one. So I'm going to click on that and let's look here to see what we can see here. See education. I mean, it seems like everything's for businesses or individuals. It doesn't really state something specifically. So I'm not quite sure where they were going with that comment. So that's, I think, something we'll go ahead and leave here. Great, thank you. This is much better. And I can even use my Grammarly plugin to edit my comments to be um, more clear. However, the sentence is still incomplete and must be finished. Not really. We don't know if it must be finished because, again, we don't know exactly what they were thinking and where they were going with this. So I'm going to leave it alone here. So the last sentence is still incomplete and needs to be finished if needed for the article. How about that? And then please advise. So they'll post a comment to say, I removed it or I finished it, and then we'll know it's something that actually needed to be finished. And this is something that can be finished by the writer um, or the editor. In this case, it's just something small. Maybe the editor says, it's not required. Or we can go back to the writer and say, ask them, well, what were you thinking, writer? But again, it's something that it can be done by either team. So I'm just going to kind of leave a comment here for the editor and the writer and state, talk about this to see if it's required or needed. Comment with outcome. Okay, very easy, very simple, and then we move on to the next one here. Let's see, add grab CAD pricing. Yep, he did that earlier. Let's go ahead and check that off. The next one here, delete. Looks like it's deleted. I can see the little mark there for editing. Great. Delete the call to action button here. Doesn't look like he deleted it, but that's something we can also delete. If it's something that's very simple while you're editing, my recommendation is just do it. Just do it. It will take you more time to create a comment and send it and recheck it. And if it's just something quick and easy, just do it. So I asked to, or he recommended, actually, not me, I'm sorry. So he recommended the writer to delete the call to action button here. So let's see, do we need it? I think we do need it. More call to action buttons are okay. Put one above, put one below. No. So we're going to say no, we're going to leave this, and the writer will take care of that. I mean, the editor will take care of that. Okay, the next one here, in the alternatives, I spoke to the writer and I asked them to update this section, which is with better alternatives. These are not alternatives for 3D libraries. Copy the resources we used in our other articles and use the ZimWriter rewrite magic command so they are rewarded differently. So basically what I was saying at this point is we have another similar article with these exact products or similar products in it. And I was saying, look, instead of reinventing the wheel, just take what we've already done, use our AI writing tool to just reword it so it's not identical, okay, and we don't get flagged for plagiarism. Just use the same information. And I even provided him with the actual article that I'm referring to so he doesn't have to go search for it because he's not going to know which article has these exact things in there. This should be something that the management team knows about and the VA so that they can go and search for it for the writer and the editor to make it quicker and faster. Okay, instead of just saying, I know we wrote something, I don't exactly remember what article, and then they have to spend time looking and searching. Most likely they're not going to do it and say, I'm sorry, I don't see it. So I don't know what you're talking about. So you need to kind of spoon feed them a little bit and kind of help them find that information. So if you can at least just give them the actual article, and this does help by knowing what we have in our library of information. And you can totally do this by using the search tool actually. And I'll show you real quick. We'll go to our website that this article is going to be published on, and I'll show you in the blog how you can actually find that information really quickly and how I actually found it. So I'm going to go to the blog, and I'm going to go to the search tool. And I'm just going to search for the keyword grab CAD and hit enter, or use the search magnifying glass there. And you can see, boom, one comes up right away there. And then another one, and then another one. So it has to be one of those three articles. So at least we can say we have three different articles that might have GrabCAD in it. Let's see, ultimate resources for 3D printing models. That's what the GrabCAD library is. Money generating uses for audio editing. I'm not sure that's quite going to work for us. And ultimate guide to SketchUp 3D warehouse alternatives. SketchUp is the same or very similar to GrabCAD, and it's a warehouse library of CAD models. So this is talking about alternatives too. So it could realistically be one or both of these articles. So if we just click on that and open it up, we can do a quick verification. Let's look at some alternatives. We can go to the table of contents, find the alternatives to quickly navigate to it. Where's alternatives? 3D printing. I think it's these right here. It might even say GrabCAD somewhere in here. Or if you can't find it, that's a good way to do it. Is just hit Alt F. Oh, I'm sorry, Control F. Oh, got that one wrong. And then just type in GrabCAD. GrabCAD. There it is, right there. So I did have the right one. What are the best commercial professional models? And you can see GrabCAD, CG Trader, Turbo Squid, Sketchfab, and Thingiverse. Those are all alternatives to GrabCAD. And so if we go back here, we can see he put in CG Trader, Turbo Squid, GrabCAD, Thingiverse, 3D Export. So he added those four that I was talking about. I think this other one was already there. So now all you had to do was quickly, you could just copy this link like I did, copy Control C and Control V, paste it into the comment, and boom, he's got the quick link to get to that article. And we could probably even check that other article. Like I said, it doesn't really matter as long as we have some alternatives. That was the main idea here, was the alternatives that were used in the article originally, in his opinion, he thought worked and were alternatives, but maybe he's not the expert in that product type, and he wasn't quite sure. So he just did what he thought might be correct, and it actually was not in this case, which is okay. They can change it. We need to help them find that correct information. So here, if we come back down and we look at the sharing in SketchUp, power collaboration, wrapping up, I'm not quite sure again where it might be in here. So we can do that Control F and look for GrabCAD, and then we can see here it is, alternatives to SketchUp, GrabCAD, and you can see we actually have a lot more in here. So either one of these articles would have been sufficient for replacing the ones that were currently here. Now, sometimes I like only a few alternatives. Other times I like a lot of alternatives. So just depending on the article, But as long as we have a few, we're doing good. Unless it's a something that really, really needs a lot of different ones, then we'll add more and suggest more. So it looks like they did that from the header section labeled, what are the best commercial professional models? Please update the listing. And then he said, done. And then she just said, thank you for updating. So now the other thing is there needs to be links on these, and it looks like he did add them. If I put my mouse and click on it, you can see the actual link shows, and that's good. The writer did it, so the editor does not have to do it. Uh, a lot of times it's very easy to do. You can just look up the keyword there and the term and find that. So looks like we did a good job. Let's go ahead and check that off and come to the next comment. And let's see, we've replaced all of these other ones. I think this had to do with the same comment. And I think I also mentioned in there to add the links, and he did. So coming down here, formatting, header 2. I suggested, it looks like it is a header 2, so I'm not sure why I put that one. Maybe it was something else before. So I'm going to take that. Let's just verify that. My journey. Let's look at the template real quick here. My experience. Or this could be the H2. It says personal experience here. So yeah, that was an H2. So it looks like that is correct. So we'll go ahead and remove that, which I did check that one off already. We'll come down to the next one now here. And again, I was asking to replace we with I. That was completed. This section should be in first person, updated to first person. So we just need to read it to verify that everything is in first person again and not the third person and first person singular. So let's just kind of glance through here and make sure. There's a space there. Okay, I'm not really looking at these underlines from Grammarly right at this point. There will be on the checklist where I will verify those in another step. But first I want to go through all the comments and just make sure that those are finished. And it looks like for the most part everything is. That's good. So we'll go ahead and check that off. We're also going to read this article and read it and listen to it as an audio clip to ensure that it sounds correct, it reads correct, and everything is good for that. So let's see here, I or my, and this is just basically me going through and saying change. Looks like everything is changed. Us with me, Sometimes I will go ahead and just do this myself if there's only a few of them. But if there is a lot of them, I will request that they do it, depending on how much time I have available. Or if it's a new writer versus a veteran writer. Okay, those all look good. Look good. Okay, good. Now we'll go to the next one here, relocate this paragraph to the top of the FAQs. Okay, which paragraph? This one, yep, to the top of the FAQs, done, great. And then, looks like that's all of our comments. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll back up to the top, and now I'm gonna go to that first bullet of our checklist, and I'm gonna verify those Grammarly underlines. So what I'm really looking for is in our plugin for Grammarly, we're going to ask, and here's my Grammarly plugin, you can see, or I call it a plugin, but browser extension to be politically correct. And I'm going to make sure that that is on. And if it's not on, usually there'll be a little green head down here that'll be kind of grayed out I should say a G, that looks like that icon, but it will be gray color instead of green, which means it's actually off. And by default, it's going to be off unless you are the owner of that Google Doc. So if you're not the owner of that Google Doc, you need to actually turn it on, and you'll basically just click on the little G and say activate or turn it on for this article. Yes, I agree with it, and it'll then turn all the underlines on. And if you've set up your plugin or your extension to show all these different things, basically I have everything on, and we make sure we're working in American English, then you will see all of the underlines in red and blue and purple and green. And depending on the level of your subscription with Grammarly, you may only see one or two, maybe the red ones and I think the blue ones. And then if you have the higher level than the free, just even the next level up, you should be able to see all the different ones, the purple ones, the blue ones, the green ones, the light green ones. And so the main thing here is the red and the blue ones. I think some of the I do feel some of the purple and the other ones are very good too. But you really just need to read the suggestions that Grammarly gives you to make sure that it does still answer the question of the user intention search, and it fits with the information that the writer has provided us for the article. So I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger to see too, just to keep it easy. All right, so I'm going to go through here, and if there's a lot of these, I can see that there's a lot that needs to be done, which means either I need to do them all manually here because you can't, there's no one button that will do all of them for you, or you need to ask the editor to go back in and do that for you. Okay, we can do it at this stage, or we can do it even in the WordPress stage. Both will work fine. So in this case, the Grammarly suggestions were not corrected. So I'm just going to make a comment, and I'm just going to make a general comment. I'm going to just grab this title and say add a comment and say Grammarly need to be completed for this article. Okay, so we'll just add that new comment there. And again, we'll leave it up to the editor if they're going to do it in the Google Doc or they're going to do it in the WordPress doc. Okay, so we've made note of that. So we'll move on to the next one. Verify the Neuron Writer SEO and readability scores are above the threshold limits. Okay, so at the top of our article here, they should have put what the article scores are to make it easy to find. And you can see the writer has done that. The editor has not put those there yet. And it could be that the editor has not finished editing. And as you can see here, it says current Neuron Writer SEO score after editing, and the readability score after editing. So editing has not been finished, and that is why it has not been added here. Okay, so we just need to verify it from the writer, which we did here at 80, 22, and 14. And again, you can do that by going back to the Neuron Writer score. And we can do that by looking at the actual Neuron Writer Contedu SEO score from the browser plugin. Okay, and as you can see here, it's showing a 75 right now at this point, and that could be due to maybe the score has changed after we started initially editing, or it could be that the again, I call it a plugin, the extension, that's the word I'm looking for. The extension is not accurate, and it has been known to not be accurate. So um, in this case, it's still above 70. So I'm not too worried about it because 70 is acceptable and pass. I give them a pass for that. So even if it's incorrect here and maybe it should be an 85, sometimes we find that it's about 10 points off from actual um, the neuron writer, and that's okay. So 85 is even better, but here it says 75. And if I remember, we looked at the score in here, and we saw that it was only an 81. So it's possible that the editor improved it to an 85, or maybe the editor has edited it to a point that it actually dropped to the 75. Either way, it's acceptable. So I'm going to go ahead and move on from there. So the score is good. I'm happy, and I'm going to go on to my next approval. So we're here at the editor approval. We'll go back and check this one off. The Hemingway readability score. We can verify that really easily. Let's go in here. We'll just do Control A, Control C for select all and copy to the clipboard. And then we're going to open up the Hemingway app. And I just have it bookmarked here. And I'm going to go in here and select this one, Control A to select all. I'm going to hit backspace or delete, and then I'm going to hit Control V to paste in the new article. And we can see the score immediately is a grade of 13, and our passing score for Hemingway is 14 or below, and this is an acceptable and passable score. So yes, we're going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to check that one off. We're going to read the comments and suggestions. We did that already. We're going to read the article post, so we're going to listen to it from the audio and read it verbally or from the words on the screen, both ways. So I'm not going to do that while we're on video here. I'll do that after the video. But really, it's just as simple as reading word by word, going through the entire article, making sure it sounds right, it sounds good, and then making comments along the way if it does not. Maybe a word is, maybe a sentence is not finished, like we found earlier. We would note that in there and say, hey, I found a sentence that wasn't finished. I'm not sure if this needs to be there. Is it extra? Is it fluff? Is it required? Really, we need to find out from the actual writer. So the other way that I do it for audio, for listening to the article is I'll use another, excuse me, I'll use another extension, or I'll use the browser to actually read it for me, and I'll listen to it in my headphones so that I can hear it really well. Sometimes I'll even get up and take a stretch break while I'm listening to the actual article, but you have to be careful with that because if you get distracted, you just hear words and you're not really paying attention. So you might miss something that, oh, that sounds fine, yeah, whatever. But you're not really paying attention, and it might be not good. It might not actually belong there or be good to go along with the article. So I recommend actually, like I said, you can get up and stretch, but stay right there by your computer monitor and follow along with the reading of that article to you. So here's how I do it. If I'm in Edge, which I am now, I'll click on this little A. And if it's not on, you just need to go to settings and you need to go to more tools and turn it on. And you can do that also in the settings so that it stays permanently available for you. And you just need to really click on that and you'll see this bar up
5-star
here.
Grab CAD Workbench Review. Unleash your creativity.
Um,
Share.
I'm not sure if you
File.
can hear that or not. It
Edit.
is reading and highlighting the
View.
words for me
Insert.
as it goes through here, but
Format.
it's reading something that I don't
Tools.
really need. I need it to read down here. So I'm going to
Extensions.
click right here on meta title, and let's see if it actually reads there for me. I don't believe it works in this Google Doc. Yeah, see, I'm clicking it again and it's not working. So this one actually does not work in Google Doc, but it does work in all the other documents like web pages. It works in WordPress. and things like that. So let's go ahead and just X out of that. And we'll use our other plugin, our other extension called Read Aloud. And again, this is something you can just go to the App Store, and if it's not available in the Microsoft App Store, just scroll to the bottom and look for, and I'll show you that just real quick here. So we'll go here to extensions, and then we'll go to manage extensions. And then if it's not available in this Microsoft Edge store, just scroll to the bottom and go here. Can't find what you're looking for, go to the Chrome store. It's a Chromium-based extension. It works in all the browsers that are Chromium-based, and Microsoft Edge is Chromium-based, so it will be available in that store if you don't find it in this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and just add that, turn it on. And then what we'll do is, let me unselect everything here. I'll just go to my plugin, again, my extension, excuse me, and
Meta
go,
title,
it'll start reading it
5-star
for
Grab
me.
CAD
So I can move
Workbench Review.
my box
Unleash your
around
creativity.
and just kind of read along.
Meta description.
I can
Discover
read
why
along
Grab
here
CAD Workbench is
so I
rated
can see
5
the
stars by
underlining
users.
and the highlighting of each word.
Experience Grab CAD, top CAD software.
I can hear and I can see it underlining what it's reading to me, so I can really just kind of follow along. I'm not going to see it highlighted here on the Google Doc. If I was in Microsoft Word or I was in WordPress, it would with this other read aloud here. It actually would highlight in yellow, and I could follow along that way, and it'll page scroll and everything for me. But since it's not working in here, I have to use this other extension, and this one works just the same. It's just in this case, I chose the settings to give me a pop-up box and to show it as a pop-up. So here I'm going to go through, I'm going to read it as it's reading it to me, or I'm going to let it read it to me, and then I'm going to go through and read it manually after that, because sometimes things look correct when we read it, but then when we hear it, we think that didn't quite sound right. It was didn't maybe it didn't sound grammatically correct. Maybe when we read it ourselves, maybe we thought it was kind of correct, or maybe we weren't really even paying attention. So um, by doing it both ways, you're really giving it a thorough editing and listen, and you'll really be able to catch most of the mistakes the first time. So it's good to do right after the writer finishes their work. You'll do this process, and then after the editor has gone through and done all their work, you want to do it again to make sure that something wasn't changed and really just throws that kind of grammar error, or it just doesn't sound correct anymore. Maybe it needs to be reworded a different way. So you'll want to do it those two times, and then even after the publisher has finished it, maybe just a listen again, just to hear it one last time before we approve it to go publishing live, and this will help prevent errors from getting out on the web. All right, so we've done that. Well, actually, I'll finish the video and then I'll do that and I'll check it off. Make any necessary comments. That's after we read the article and we listen to the article, and then verify the header outlines match the template. So really we just can do that one more time here. So we'll go into the article, we'll open that up, and I'm going to go into my split screen tool like we used before in other videos I've shown. If you haven't seen it, please go through and find that video. And then I'm going to open up the actual template. Here it is. So my template is on one side, my article is on the other side. And why does it still think I'm in the reading?
Software for sharing and collaborating on 3D models.
Hold on.
5-star Grab CAD Workbench Review. Unleash your creativity.
Now it's reading to me again.
Exploring the Grab CAD community.
Okay, so once we've got the split screen on, we can see this Contadoo plugin or extension is really just kind of expanded here. So we'll go ahead and click on this to hide it on both sides. And then we can kind of just rearrange that window to give it a quick review. And again, if it opens, it tends to open every time you move it, which is a little kind of frustrating, but just go ahead and close it again and don't play with the document other than just kind of moving it to the side. And then we can check that. Oh, looks like I put the wrong one here. So let's close that one and open up the right one. I think I closed it actually when I was doing my behind the scenes things editing here. Let me bring it back up correctly here. Okay, here we are. So our template again. Let's just look at this. We have our H1 here. It says H1. You don't really have to highlight, but I like to just to make sure I'm selecting because sometimes you can just put the cursor there and may not show correctly because maybe there's an extra character there like a space that you're not looking at and it thinks, oh, it's not an H2, it's a space of maybe normal text. So I like to just highlight some of this in the middle just to show that, yep, I do have the right thing selected. Okay, so what is Workbench? What is product name here? We can see it's an H2, H2. And let's just go through here. Who created? Who created should be an H3, H3. And then top benefits, again, H3, H3. These next paragraphs here can be H4s or maybe normal text. Either one is fine. As long as it stays in that hierarchical uh, category of H, starting at the top of the document H1, and then the main titles like here are H2s, and then the smaller information that's not as quite as important or is complementary to that title will be H3s and so forth. So it looks good. Uh, best features H2, H2, and then H3 for the ones underneath it, the pricing. And I can see now this pricing is not bolded, and this is bolded here. So let's go ahead and bold this. Again, that's just easier than making a comment to bold this text. So let's just click on this little three little stars here since it's hidden, and click on bolding, and that's all we need to do. Okay, and call to action button. That doesn't matter if it's bolded or not. It's going to be replaced by a button. GrabCAD, pros and cons, H2. The pros will be a H3 and cons a H3. Yep. And again, we have another call to action button. Again, it doesn't matter the size and things like that. It's as long as it's there, that's going to be replaced. Now, alternatives is an H2, H2. And then looks like we might need a space there, so I'm just going to hit a space. And then we do need the list of alternatives, which is here. We see them. And the list can be H3s. And then here you can see it says H3 and H3. And it looks like it's a different size font, which it could be in the Google Doc, but usually when you take it into WordPress, things will look correct because WordPress is going to format it based on our WordPress kind of normal default theme settings. So don't be too worried about that here. And then personal experience H2, my journey, that's personal experience H2. So we don't need this one because it's already here. And then conclusion, H2, FAQs. That's not typed correctly, but you get the point. H2. H2. Again, there's another call to action that could have been added by, it's not required, it's not showing here on the template. It probably should be added to the template so that we're consistent with where we put those, and maybe I'll have that added here in the future so that we can just keep that consistency throughout all of our articles. But it's good to have a number of those FAQs H2s, and then each question H3. You can see here questions are H3s, and then this is just some examples, example questions that don't need to be the exact same over here. Okay, and we can see everything has been added, so we're good on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and close this by clicking on this little X, and if you mouse over it, you'll see it. Close that. Just we'll see that one document again, and we'll go back to our checklist. I think I closed my checklist too. Real quick, let's open that back up. Checklist. And let's go back to where we were on the manager approval for the writing, and we verified the template. So in this case, we are completely finished with this other than reading it and making any necessary comments. So that's really what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish this video and go ahead and I'm going to read it. I'm going to listen to it. And if I have to make any comments for the writer, I will. If I do not have to make any comments other than this one suggestion that I did about the Grammarly comments, what I will do then is I will go to the comment section or the activity section for comments, and I will write in here for the editing team and tell them what I added. If I added additional comments to the Google Doc, I will write that here and say needs attention, added a few extra or a few more comments that need attention prior to moving to WordPress. If I read through and everything sounds good, I listen to it, everything looks good, there's only that one comment I put about the Grammarly edits, suggestions that need to be taken care of, then I'll just write that information here on the activity. I'll say everything looks great to go to WordPress with the exception of one comment regarding the Grammarly suggestions, which can be completed in either the Google Doc or WordPress, and then post that comment for that team. In addition to that, I will then come back up here to the labels. I will then remove review in progress, and I will put in here if I've approved to go into WordPress publishing, then I will say that that is okay. So pending, I'll also uncheck pending editing because editing will be completed, and now it'll be moving into publishing. And so those two will come unchecked. And if I don't see the other label here, I can just click on Show More Labels. And then I'll come down and I'll look for Approved to Import for Publishing, which is here where my mouse is. And I'll go ahead and just check that box on. Okay. And I'll choose this one here for Editing is Approved. And then I will put in here, well, I won't put this one yet until after I go through my checklist of pending publishing and make sure that it's approved to publish, which will be this one as well up here. So this will be pending publishing beforehand, and then approved once everything's final. We'll go here. So we'll check these on and off as needed, and that just kind of again helps the content team know the progress as things are moving through the production pipeline. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. I will finish up these last steps that we just talked about. Then the editor will get, and the writer, if you've made comments for it, will get the notifications, and they will start working on those edits and comments for you. Okay, once they're finished, they will publish again back to the Trello card. So all communication stays in one Trello card for each article, and we don't get confused. We won't use another chatting application, say like Slack or Skype or something else, or text or instant messaging of Facebook or any of these other types of communication platforms. We don't want to talk on those other ones about this specific article because people are going to be confused and they're going to lose comments and things are going to get out of place. So we want to make sure we put everything on one card in this place for this article. And we don't want to confuse it by putting things about other articles on this card because, again, you're going to confuse the team. So let's make sure we use one card for each article and we put all communication on there for all team members, writers, editors, publishers, managers, virtual assistants, whoever is involved in that process will be directed to one specific Trello card until this article is approved and published, and we won't lose any of that communication. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me, post comments for me on the video or send me a message directly if you are internal. Have a nice day.